Marathon. The game that is supposed to be the saving grace for Bungie, which is, I mean, again, this game is supposed to justify a $3.7 billion acquisition price. Sony bought them for that amount, and they bought them under the premise that they were going to have 3 games: Destiny 2, Marathon, and then a third kind of spin-off game that they were working on. That third spin-off game is part of an entirely new team that's separate and was revealed like a week or 2 ago. So that's off in the distance. It's not technically a Bungie thing anymore. Destiny 2 is losing money and isn't doing so hot, so it is what it is. And then Marathon is here. And Marathon, of course, recently had the preview event. I got to go to it, talk to some of the developers and designers and stuff. At that event, they were saying things that I found quite worrisome, such as the fact that they kept describing it as very early. And they said things like, they said they wanted this to be a revolutionary game in the extraction shooter genre that just totally redoes the genre in a way that, like, Destiny introduced more MMO aspects to a console audience. They wanted to do that, but with extraction shooters, basically bring it to console and make it accessible there in a way that, like, Tarkov isn't. And I asked them, what is revolutionary about this game? And they said, I think what's going to be really revolutionary and what's going to really impress people is the 4th map that they will bring after launch that is set on the Marathon spaceship and is massive and crazy and has all sorts of cool, like, dungeon crawling mechanics and stuff, but they wouldn't show us anything from that. And they wouldn't tell us anything specific because they didn't want to spoil it. So, okay, I just have to trust you that that 4th map is going to be so good that it makes this revolutionary. Maybe. But even that, they said, is for endgame players. It's probably like a something you get into at like 50, 60, 70 hours because you need purple shields and stuff to even attempt it. And so, like, it's tough to tell me this is revolutionary after you're in the end game. It's kind of tough to get into it under the promise of it being revolutionary in the future, but whatever. And the second thing they said that was revolutionary was the ranked mode. And the most baffling thing about that is I asked them, oh, so the ranked mode, how does that work? And they said, well, we don't really know yet because we haven't built it, but we have some ideas. They have concepts of ideas of what the ranked mode will be, and they're 5 months out from launch. So, like, the odds of that ranked mode being ready for launch, I think, are shockingly low. I think there is almost no chance that the ranked mode ends up at launch. So you're telling me both of the things that make this game special and revolutionary are, like, coming after launch, or will be so thrown together to get to launch that it won't even really, they probably won't even be at their full potential or fully functioning. So major red flags across the board. Like, to me, it just seems like Marathon needs a lot more time. It needs like another year, needs more maps, needs more content. So already this is, rewind the clocks to yesterday morning before all of this new stuff broke. We're a little concerned because it feels like they need to spend an extra year and it needs to be delayed. And Sony is not giving them a delay. They just are like, figure it out, put it out. I don't care. But maybe it surprises us and is phenomenal at launch, but the odds I think are not that great. I think it needs more time. But that was as of yesterday morning at like 9 a.m. What happened at 11:28 a.m.? Well, an artist called N Squared for NT1R34L, I think it's supposed to be not real. I don't know. Anyway, they posted this. The Marathon Alpha released recently and its environments are covered with assets lifted from poster designs I made in 2017. Huh. It's a woman, by the way. Anti-real. That's it. I don't know what this, there's like a term for this type of writing where it's mixing the numbers and stuff. I don't remember what it is, but yeah, anti-real. That makes more sense. So this artist, she, thank you for the correction there. She posted this and showed some screenshots of posters released in 2017. And yes, these are posters from 2017. July 15th, 2017. I found the original post. This is the poster, okay? ALEPH, Dark Space Haulage Logistics, okay? And we go into here, and what do you see? It's identical. Enhance. All over the place. There are these identical copy and pastings where it's not even like visually similar. It's all like 1-to-1 Just the textures have been copied here and then pasted over here. What? She goes on, Bungie is of course not obligated to hire me when making a game that draws overwhelmingly from the same design language I've refined for the last decade, but clearly my work was good enough to pillage for ideas and plaster all over their game without pay or attribution. Here are some more little snippets, okay? From Marathon Press Kit, Code Fragments, ARG. This was posted back in 2016 on her page. Looks a little similar. So this is hers, and this is theirs. This is getting a little hard to just hand wave it away, you know? I don't have the resources nor the energy to spare to pursue this legally, but I have lost count of the number of times major company has deemed it easier to pay a designer to imitate or steal my work than to write me an email. In 10 years, I've never made a consistent income from this work, and I am tired of designers from huge companies mood boarding and parasiting my designs while I struggle to make a living. And this was what initially seemed to have maybe happened, is this idea of mood boarding. This is something that concept artists will do all the time. Like you can even see, do I have an art book? What they'll do when they're trying to like come up with art designs for some of these games is they'll come up with a bunch of like key art that they then reference.
Fearless Wolf donated £10 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
This is why games flop when devs go corpo. 90s, oh gaming had soul. Now it's $50 for a weed camo and a prime gun. From counterculture to cash cow. What a fall.
Yeah, for real. Are you telling me you don't want to play as Seth Rogen? You don't want to play Call of Duty as Seth Rogen smoking weed? Sounds like something's wrong with you. Just saying. But like this is not the perfect example because this is art that they did. But they'll come up with a vision board, okay? This is for the patrol level in The Last of Us Part 2. And they come up with all this artwork and they put them up on, it's a mood board basically. And they put it together, and then the level designers and all of the artwork and environmental people will go with this artwork and build out the levels based on those ideas, those concepts. And this is why like concept artists are so important, because they can draw these pictures. And I mean, you can even see here some of the original artwork for the sequence when Joel plays golf for the first time. And you can see like the original concept for Ellie cradling Joel's body, the original concept for what the graveyard would look like, the house. In this case, the house is an actual like picture. They actually just found a picture of Joel's of a house, and we're like, yeah, that's what we think it should look like. So mood boarding happens all the time in like these types of businesses where artists will collect a bunch of pictures and inspirations, and then they'll try to build out their own aesthetic from there. But what's become incredibly clear over the last 24 hours is that that is not what happened here. Okay. This was not an instance of a couple of artists taking some screenshots of these, putting them on a mood board, and then trying to like take inspiration from it. There are things that are, like we said, carbon copied like this. It's hard for me to say like, oh, it's inspiration when it's ALEPH and that exact thing is copied over there. But what's also striking is that this whole art style, this aesthetic, is something that she put together back in 2017 and 16. And it's very unique. It's very, very original, which is why for so long people were saying the one thing you can say about Marathon is the art style is really unique. It's really cool looking. And you can see like even literally my logo, even her logo is like still retained in all of these little decals and stuff. The artwork is all over every single asset in the game. Like even these blue things, the arrows are taken from this. That was posted, September 27th of 2017. I'm gonna tell you anti-real right now. You should put up like a GoFundMe. Honestly, you don't even need to do that. I know, like I have lawyers in my family that would cream their pants at the very idea of getting to represent you in a lawsuit against Bungie. Okay. Any lawyer who understands what's happened here will take your case pro bono, and you will never work another day in your life. Okay. I'm telling you right now. Okay. I'm telling you. Yeah, exactly. Your literal logo has been copy and pasted into the game that they're going to try to sell for a premium price tag. Like there's no doubt in my mind that you've got this locked and loaded. What's been clear though, after all of this broke, you know, there's been, this one's also really tough. Anti-real daily series. It's even copy and pasted in, but the quality's been dropped off. So like even that's been retained in the post. So what did Marathon devs do? This is where I start to get extra peeved. Okay. They posted to a secondary account, not their official Bungie Marathon account. Okay. Not their official Bungie Marathon account, but they posted to their secondary account. They could have posted this here. They didn't. They posted it to this little known and little followed Marathon dev team account because they don't want to like acknowledge this in the broader public setting, which already feels really, really weird. Like if you're going to own it, own it. But they said, we immediately investigated a concern regarding unauthorized use of artist decals in Marathon and confirmed that a former Bungie artist included these in a texture sheet that was ultimately used in game. So in other words, like they have a collection of a bunch of textures you can apply to assets. They said that some of these designs were copy and pasted into that texture sheet instead of being made originally. And then they used that on all these assets throughout the game. And that's how this happened. It's that former designer's fault who did this, allegedly without Bungie's knowledge, of course. And you know, they're former employees, so they're like, they don't even work here anymore. We don't even know. But their claim is that a former employee put all these things copy and pasted, all these little bitty things from these posters into a texture sheet and put them in there. Maybe, you know, I'm trying to think of how somebody could ever think that they could do that. If it was work in progress art and the idea was that all of these things were just placeholders until they did original artwork, maybe you could start to understand how this could happen. But why was it released? Like maybe because it was rushed. They never went back and redid the work in progress art. Maybe then you could say that, oh, that's how this happened. But even still, man, it's really tough to like, if it's work in progress, this is a lot of work to do on a work in progress thing. Like they fully textured it. If it was just work in progress, why not leave it untextured for play tests and stuff? I don't understand. So even then, like I'm already struggling to see how this type of thing could happen. But they continue. This issue was unknown by our existing art team, and we are still reviewing how this oversight occurred. We take matters like this very seriously. We've reached out to Anti-Real to discuss this issue and are committed to do right by the artist. For the love of God, Anti-Real, if there's a 0.1% chance you see this stream clip, but for the love of God, do not talk to them at all. Get a lawyer and have the lawyer speak on your behalf. Anything you say can and will be used against you, okay? Do not say anything. Don't say anything, okay? Get a lawyer, have them speak for you. Call Saul Goodman, yes. They will try to offer you like, hey, we'll give you 10 grand. Would that help? We're sorry. And if you accept that, and you also say things like, it's fine, I'm just frustrated. Even something off the cuff like that, they can use in future litigation to be like, yeah, well, you said it was fine, and now you're changing your mind on it. But you said it was fine, and you accepted our payment of 10 grand. Shut up. Like, do not say anything to them, okay? For the love of God, I'm trying to help, okay? Don't say anything. Don't accept anything. Get a lawyer. Let them do it for you. You will thank your future self. As a matter of policy, we do not use the work of other artists without their permission. To prevent similar issues in the future, we're conducting a thorough review of our in-game assets, specifically those done by the former Bungie artist, I would hope so, and by implementing stricter checks to document all artist contributions. We value the creativity and dedication of all artists who contribute to our games, and we're committed to doing right by them. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. Okay. Yeah, there's a couple of other little tidbits where they say like a lot of your artists and employees follow this artist on social media, which is another thing where it starts to be like, you know, it's not that they just took some of these individual little bits of the posters, okay, and then they copied them as textures. It's like the whole damn aesthetic, dude. Like I see this, and I imagine you see this, and you go, oh, that's for Marathon, because it's the whole damn thing. It's the whole aesthetic. It's the whole vibe. You know, like if they had hired this artist 5 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, whatever, and said, hey, can you be the art director for our new game? No problem. You did phenomenal artwork in 2017. They hired you in 2018 to utilize that artwork in their game. Okay. But it's really tough to come up with any explanation other than like they saw this artwork. A lot of the artists at the company followed this artist on social media, were aware at some point of their designs. And, you know, now it's being pinned on one specific former artist. But Like seriously, I've played the alpha a good bit, and this artwork is all over every asset. Like it's on every asset. They're gonna have to like redo all of the assets in the entire damn game. If Marathon weren't getting a delay now, I think they have to. Like you have to redo all of the assets. There's nothing else you can do. You have to redo all of it. And even then, like you redo all of it, what's the agreement they're gonna make with this artist? Hopefully not one that just shoves it under the rug. Hopefully she actually like pursues full compensation. The one saving grace for Marathon and for Bungie is that they didn't actually release the game yet. They haven't actually accepted any money for it. So there's that, you know, because part of a lot of lawsuits with stuff like this is that you have to prove damages, and you have to prove often when you're the one doing the suing, when you're the plaintiff, you have to argue the damages, and you have to argue that the other person, like the other party, benefited from taking this from you. And that's just not, I don't know how you do that in an alpha, because they've not technically accepted any money for it yet. So that's the one thing that I'm sure Bungie's like, whew, with, because, you know, if this broke on launch day, you're screwed. Just the other, like last week or whatever, we were coming back from Disney World, and on the flight, we were on like Delta or whatever. My wife, Nikki, she got a little bowl of like nuts or whatever that they serve like as a little snack while you are on your flight. She got that. And inside she like pops some nuts in her mouth or whatever. And she's eating, and a little piece of glass from some bowl or cup or something had gotten chipped off, fallen in there. And she had put it in her mouth and then chewed. And that piece of glass dug into her molar and it like scraped her tooth. And she told the flight attendant, and the flight attendant was like, oh God. And I noticed like the flight attendant going back and hops on the phone and all that. And they're like checking in with her multiple times. And as we get ready to land, the flight attendant's like, yeah, somebody's just going to be at the gate to chat with you real quick, make sure you're okay. And if you need an ambulance or something, we can do that. Sounds very nice, right? Sounds very kind. It's not what it is. That person that's waiting at the gate is not just like a friend to check on you. The person at the gate works with Delta Legal and is there to say, okay, are you feeling okay? Yeah, I feel fine, but done. At the gate, you told one of our reps that you said you felt fine. And then it was after that you decided you wanted to contact us about compensation for this damage to your tooth. And all of a sudden you weren't fine. Why did you lie to our attendant? Are you a liar? Like, that's how this stuff starts, okay? My wife gets off. She gets off the plane first. I'm packing up the rest of our stuff. And as I'm walking out the plane, the captain is, you know, right outside the door, and the flight attendant is standing right next to him. And Nikki walks off the plane first, and you can see the captain turn to the flight attendant. Is that her? Like, the captain and everybody was already talking about this, you know? It's already a topic of conversation.
Jerry Dingleberry donated $10
Can't say anything.
Super Chat. These peasants are so ungrateful. People should be happy that they have their art stolen and used for profit by the great Lord Bungie, and even happier to pay to see your own art.
Yeah, isn't it like an experience to get to see your own art? Isn't that great? Think of the 10. But that my point of bringing up this story is that in that moment, it may seem like, oh, they're just trying to help. Bungie's reaching out to this artist to see if she's okay, and what can we do to make this right? Your art has been a real inspiration for us. We'd like to buy you a new car. Do you really think they're doing that out of the goodness of their heart? They're not. They're not. They're doing that because they think the new car will be way cheaper than whatever you could get if you were to go through formal actions. And the problem is for Bungie is that they have a history of doing this. There's been like 3 or 4 other instances where they've used artwork in cutscenes and stuff that looks shockingly similar to what other people have done. Yeah, like Mr. Gaming Counselor says Destiny 2 Witch Queen trailer used fan art of Zivu Arath in trailer without credit, credited artist after the mistake was noticed. Destiny 2 cutscene used near identical fan art in a cutscene, apologized, compensated the artist. Destiny 2 Ace of Spades Nerf gun, copy design for Nerf replica, identical patterns, in contact to compensate and credit. And then this latest one. So it's a problem within the Bungie art team, it seems. There's somebody that's just, they take art and put it on like a Pinterest board, and then they go and copy it like 1-to-1, and then only apologize or only credit after they get caught. So it's a problem at Bungie's art team. That seems to be the common thread here, you know. But where I start to like really not feel like what kind of puts the nail in the coffin for this being for Bungie not acting in good faith here is that they put this on their like very low follower little bitty X account, just kind of whispering it out instead of actually responding on their primary accounts and stuff. It's not an accident. It's not an accident. At the end of the day, the art director is responsible. Yeah. I mean, you would think that there's some process where they can make sure that everything they're putting into the game is original. But again, if it happens like 1 time, it's an occurrence, 2 times it's a coincidence, 3 times it's a pattern, 4 times you're stupid. And it's stupid for you to think that we're all just gonna like ignore it. So at this point, you know, the fallout from all of this is that I think they have to delay the game and they have to redo the art, like assets, at least to make them original. You know, like I think even here, even these numbers and stuff on the main
Maestro
page
donated $20 through Super Chat.
is
Hey,
from
Luke,
those posters.
I let my manager know you agreed to cover my shift at Taco Bell tomorrow.
Oh, good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the 20. Yeah, just don't worry about it. Let's see. Meanwhile, Sandfall Interactive is giving creator credit to a dog. The 33rd member of the company. Yeah. How TF did this get through? If this went past oversight, what did they not check? I think that they're claiming that a singular artist basically passed this off as their own and said, I did this. I made this. These are my textures. This is my stuff. There you go. That's the claim. They're saying this one artist did it. And maybe that artist, who's a former Bungie employee, maybe that's the artist that was responsible for taking the design of the Nerf gun and they were fired after that. And so maybe this is a pattern and all this work was done back then. You would think they would have reviewed their work prior to that if they were the one responsible for that. But their claim is that it's one person who basically was saying all of this was their own work when it wasn't. Either way, it's like the outcome of this is pretty clear. I think they have to delay it. They have to redo artwork. But even then, how do you get around like the sheer volume of negativity around this game right now? I don't know. I cannot see a world in which this launches and people are like, well, whatever. Like, I think it's just the narrative around the game is so negative. Even prior to this, after the alpha, people were already like, Arc Raiders looks better. And now, I don't know how on earth they dig themselves out of this hole. Like this is a massive, $1 billion nail in a $3.7 billion coffin. I mean, this is insane. And, I feel for like the game designers. I feel for like, the Joe Ziegler types, the guys that have been designing the video game. They don't work on the art. They don't work on any of that stuff. They're just trying to find a way to make a good game. They didn't do anything wrong in this case, other than like working on a game that's being rushed. Ismail, thank you for that. Maybe Sony was rushing the game and so didn't have enough time for more concepts. So the texturing artist took stuff from Twitter that matches the style quickly. They can just replace those textures. It's kind of my feeling is either that this is like a chronic offender who was responsible for some of the other times that Bungie's been caught doing this, or
Caleb donated $10 through Super Chat.
But yeah, Ismail, I do think that's the other explanation, is that maybe this is like an instance where they were temporary textures and they meant to go back and redo them, but the game's been so rushed that they didn't do that, or this artist left before they did it. And so then they were like, we don't need to. It's whatever. But it's not really an excuse, Honestly, I thought those textures weren't textures, but placeholders. Is the game supposed to launch that way? Yeah, Dumo Sedan. I do think so. Thank you for the 8 months, by the way. Sturman says with the 5, with this new marathon news, curious if you knew of another financial blunder in the video game industry as big as Sony buying Bungie since COVID. I don't think so. There's nothing on the scale of $3.7 billion that has not returned a penny. Like, they've lost money. And you don't need to be a finance major to understand that if you invest $3 billion, close to $4 billion, and you don't make even $1, that was a bad investment. They literally could have bought government bonds and treasuries, and it would have been a better investment than this. But yeah, I don't think there's anything close. Like their purchase of Bungie has been an unequivocal disaster. I mean, there really is no other way to spin it. Even if you like Bungie stuff, even if you love Destiny, it's just, there is no way to spin it where it's a good thing. It's been a disaster. And even since they bought them, like, bear in mind, I talked about it in that video. They had about 1,600 employees just a handful of years ago. Now they're down at like 800. So the company has been cut in half. Like it's been a disaster. Was it under Jim Ryan? Yeah, it was Jim Ryan and Herman Holst purchasing it. And it was supposed to be the spearhead that charged forward and allowed them to fulfill their live service dreams. And it's been a disaster across the board. Okay, so we were about to wrap up that whole discussion of Marathon, but they're actually doing right now like a discussion of Marathon, and apparently it's not going too great. It's not going super well, and I think copy pasta will make me a god. I think there's been some discourse about it. What are they going to say? I don't even know what you say to all of this. Oh, wait, it's muted.
That it mirrors the intensity of like the experience that we intend on the planet. Like really, a marathon is supposed to be about surviving Tau Ceti and the marathon, ship, and surviving that situation. Right now, it just feels like it's purely about surviving other players, and we want to really make sure that all comes together, both from a creative and gameplay standpoint.
Dude, the chat is vicious. The chat is going off. Destin says, this marathon stream is a disaster from almost every perspective. Bungie, you should call it a day. I get you're taking it on the chin, but the bad production on top of the controversy is just oof. I mean, it seems... they've been talking about doing this stream for a while. It seems odd that they're just doing a little webcam and stuff, but whatever. Again, I don't know how you really overcome this. This is the tricky bit. I don't know how you overcome this. And to be clear, it's not like, as far as I can tell, it's not like Joe Ziegler's fault. He has an art team, and the art team is the one responsible for this. But this is why when one group screws something up, everybody suffers. Paris says the stolen artwork used in Marathon is extremely disappointing. The Bungie leadership needs to take full responsibility by compensating the artist and completely removing all of it from the game. Even then, I don't know if they overcome the negativity. At this point, it might also just be easier for them to just give a fat check to the artist, thank her for her contributions accidentally, and then I think they need to get like written permission from her to use it and move on from there, because I don't think you can just strip all of it out without it just looking like you're creating cheaper imitations of it. I don't know what else you could do, but even then I don't think they can overcome the negativity at this point surrounding the game. I mean, this is a bit of a mess, so we'll see. I just don't see an easy way out of it. I don't see any way out of it, frankly. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they, like I said earlier, if they delay it, be like, hey, we're going to delay it while we work on fixing this stuff and responding to feedback from the alpha, whatever, and fixing the artwork. And then they also come out later and they're like, maybe next January or something. And they're like, we made the difficult decision to cancel Marathon, and blah, they'll blame like reception to the alpha or something and move on from there. I think that it might be dead at this point. The game already had problems and in my opinion was launching incomplete, but now you can't explain this away and pretend everything's okay. I feel bad for all the devs who had nothing to do with this, but this is inexcusable and horrible for Bungie. Yeah, I mean, without a doubt. That's why I feel for like the Joe Zieglers. These guys are just trying to make good games, but still.
I do not just one.
That did trigger something that I think we forgot to talk about, that we want to talk about, was build crafting. How we're like sort of thinking a little bit more about how we want to make more distinct build crafting elements.
Yeah, we're tackling.
Dude, I feel so bad. It's kind of funny, but it's also sad. I don't know why they still did this. Like, why did they still do this event? Just take the time. Just take the time, man. Their faces, that's sad AF. I mean, kinda. It's because again, these guys weren't responsible for this, but they have to come here and like still pretend like everything's okay. Michael Scott, yikes face. Yeah, there's no good answer. There's no good response. Like it's just sucks across the board. It's all bad. It's all terrible. They should cancel it. Wouldn't it be legitimate or a liability to continue to show anything from the game when that art is going to be no longer relevant? I think really what it comes down to is this. I said earlier, anti-real, she should get a lawyer, get represented, and then take whatever action she needs to. Because this whole multi-$100 million project has been undertaken with her artwork at the core of it. Okay, from the beginning, in my opinion. So she should do that. She should do that. And if she does that, then releasing the game is a liability, because she has the opportunity to file a lawsuit once the game launches, and then she can argue that there are damages and that they benefited from taking her artwork. If they cancel it, they can still say, we never made a penny on the artwork, so we're not responsible for it. I just went out of focus for some reason. That was weird. But if they release it, they then have damages. She has damages she can claim, and that's not good for them. But as of this moment, the game isn't out. They haven't made a penny on the game, so they can say, yeah, we messed up, or Bungie, a former employee, whatever, messed up, but we didn't benefit. And that, I think, saves them. That's the one saving grace with all this. But if they launch it, that goes out. Luke, should she really take any money off or lawyer up? Would you take the bag? Oh, do not take the bag. Them offering you a bag is them admitting that they know they messed up and something is serious here. Like, these companies do not just hand out money and settlements like nothing. They hand it out because they think that the alternative is worse. If they offer you $100 to just, sorry about this, it's because they are worried if you don't take that, they will lose more than the 100, which is why they're offering you the 100 and not 200 or 300 or pretending like nothing's wrong. So 1,000,000% she should get a lawyer and go through those steps. Do not talk to them. Do not interact with their legal team. Don't do any of that. But I think that's really what it's going to come down to. If she lawyers up, the odds of Marathon getting canceled go up by like 50 times. I think that they, at that point, their lawyers might say, just cancel it. The odds of it making money are low to begin with. Just cancel it. I think the odds of that skyrocket if she lawyers up. If she does not lawyer up and she takes like a $50,000 settlement or something, which is very low. I mean, I'm talking, if she does this, she could easily walk away with millions if they launch it. Right now, suing right now is tricky. And I think realistically how this will work is that she'll go to a lawyer, she'll talk to them, the lawyer will go, okay, we're going to wait for them to launch the game. And once they do that and they sell 100,000 copies, 1 million copies, whatever it sells, we multiply that by how much money they made for each copy. We take that and then we file a lawsuit saying they made this much money based off of our artwork. Then you've got a really strong case. As of right now, if you filed the lawsuit right now, there aren't damages. They haven't directly profited from the artwork yet. He took my thing.